You ever say you're going to try to do something? Did you know that that is incorrect, and saying you're going to try can lead to failure?
That's because you don't have a conviction. Joining us to talk about that, sports psychologist Dr. Eddie from Mary Free Bed. Thanks so much for being here.
Good to be back. Thanks.
So interesting, because I guess by saying I'm going to try to do that, you're already telling yourself maybe I won't be able to?
Yeah, you're actually not committing to the outcome. Try is absolutely a failure word, and believe it or not, I got this from Yoda. If you saw it in Empire Strikes Back.
Sure. I'm glad you brought it up, because if you didn't, I was going to have to.
I kind of thought you would. But do or do not, and there is no try. And if you don't like Chinese food, you don't know, you can try it, and there's no commitment to will I like it or will I won't. But many times you say, I'm going to try to exercise, I'm going to try to do my best, I'm going to try to lose weight. And as long as you give some effort, you're kind of satisfied with that. And I have a lot of clients that come in and they'll have the excuses and the reasons. But I challenge you to say either you will or you won't. One of two things are going to happen. Either you actually will not say that because you realize I can't exercise 5 days this week, you'll stop lying to yourself, or you're going to have a conviction, a strength of commitment to say, well, I said I'm going to, and you know what that looks like, and you're more likely to follow through.
Well, I like your statement that you had there. It was kind of like the inspirational message from the crotchety old groundskeeper in the teen movie or something. Pick a side and stick with it. You got to have something that you fight for and that you believe in, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so much that we go through where it kind of just seems like we have a hard time really committing to one side or the other. And I think that's out of natural ways of trying to protect ourselves, have a backup plan, and we all hear about that. But if you're not fully committed to one thing or the other, you're not really going to succeed at it either, because you're not putting everything into it.
And that's a good way. If you say I'm going to try to do that, that's a good way for you to maybe feel good about yourself saying it to somebody else, when you know in your head probably not going to happen.
Yeah, and that's actually the thing. You actually don't know it in your head, and that's actually the problem, because you kind of feel it and think it, but you're not really getting your heart into it, which is much more of that idea. You know the difference when you say, okay, I'm going to try that, and you're not really holding on to it. But when you say, I'm going to do that, well, then people are going to hold you accountable, and it's really hard to say that if you think about it.
Yeah.
Would you rather somebody say, instead of saying I'm going to try to work out 5 days a week, say I am going to work out 3 days a week? Would that be better? Lower
Absolutely.
your goal and commit to something that you know you can do then?
Tim, that's exactly right, because after the second or third time that you miss and you've got the rest of the week and you can't meet your goal now, usually people will quit. Well, I tried, and then they come back to my office and talk to me and be like, well, I tried and it didn't work. Well, if you set it more realistically and you achieve it, you'll find you'll work out 3 maybe for a couple weeks, get used to it, have success, feel confident, then maybe jump to 4, then 5.
So when we talk about belief, you believe in something. It's not a feeling.
No.
You say it's a behavior.
That's right. And this is something I got newer from my clients, and they teach me as much as I teach them sometimes. But to believe something, it's not a feeling, it's not emotion, it's not a thought. When you believe, you act as if it's true. Now, to me, that kind of changes the game. If you believe that you're a strong athlete or you believe you're a good player, well, then there's really no room for doubt and for whining and for not working hard. You have to hold yourself accountable. If I believe this, I better act like it. So you really want to match up these words with your actions.
So if the Kings go out there tonight and say, we are the best team, we've played like it all season long, that there's nothing the Devils can do to stop them, whereas the Devils have upped their level of belief in themselves and gotten the bounces and gotten the breaks and have a chance to make some history, right?
Right, exactly. And what you'll be seeing is like how much you believe it. You'll find that very few people will believe these things 100%, because if they did, they'd be very consistent in their behaviors. But then doubt comes in, a turnover will happen, and all of a sudden that belief becomes a little bit more fragile. So again, same thing like with the do or do not. If you believe something, really recognize what you're saying, and then you can push the doubt out, because if you believe it, there's no room for doubt or other inconsistent behavior.
And certainly not just what, I mean, I know we mentioned exercise, but in life in general, that just applies to everything.
Yeah, I've seen people apply this to relationships. You know, people say, oh, you know, I know my wife loves me. Well, then why are you so jealous, and why are you doubting it, and why are you questioning? You either do or you don't. Be honest, and then you can get somewhere.
I once saw a guy believe that he could lift an X-wing fighter out of a swamp.
Yeah, and he tried, and it fell right back in.
That was
we need more Yoda on this show. Good stuff,
Brilliant
Dr.
sports
Eddie.
psychologist, Dr. Yoda.
Thanks for coming in.
So
My pleasure.
It is a night that celebrates the stage. Coming up, a look at last night's Tony Awards. Tell you which musicals took home the big honor.
And don't forget to tune in tonight, Fox 17. Here is your primetime lineup. The competition on Hell's Kitchen is heating up. Men's team or women's team, who you got this season? After that at 9, it is another hour of Chef Gordon Ramsay in Master Chef. That's followed by the latest headlines and an update on the potential for some rain on Fox 17 News at 10.